I, male 18, was told earlier today that I need to pack up and leave by the end of the week. I still feel in shock. I was removed from my biological family when I was 7 due to issues with my parents. I was then placed in foster care and then matched with a couple who I will call the Peters. It's not their real name. No matter how much I actually want to blast their real info, I won't. The Peters were always really nice to me. And since I moved in when I was pretty young, after a while, I started to consider them my parents. I called them Mom and Dad, treated them as my parents, treated their biological son as my brother. I wasn't their only foster child. They also have a 9-year-old boy who has lived with us for a little over a year. I was never adopted by them. I know why, because they live off the fostering allowance. Something that never really bothered me. They told me that it didn't matter and that legality didn't make us a family, which I believed. I went on their agency website earlier today and I found out that they are getting paid at least £1,400 for me per month. Or at least they were. Since I turned 18, they stopped getting the allowance. However, they applied for a staying put arrangement for me, which meant they would continue getting paid something as they continue to support me and let me live with them. It wasn't as much. I think it was like £1,000 per month. They told me they had it approved until I was 21, so I thought I'd be able to stay at least until I finished uni. They sat me down today and told me I had to leave. They told me that fostering is a business and that they couldn't afford to keep me on just the stay-put arrangement allowance. They told me I had until the end of the week. 4 days. How generous of them. They said they need my room because they want to get a new foster placement. They literally told me it's not personal. Like that makes me feel any freaking better. They said they would still consider me like a son, not their son anymore. Like a son, and that they want to keep in touch. What a joke. They choose to kick me out. An 18-year-old with no job, no income, no nothing, about to start university. Yet their bio son, who is 25, gets to stay? So yeah, I guess frick me, right? I'm just the one no one ever wanted. I guess I wasn't ever truly part of their family. Now for a few important comments. Cucky94 responding to Candid Spot 5e15. OP, you were 7 when you went into their care. They denied you the opportunity to find a real family who love you for you and not the dollars you brought in. Frick them. You deserve better. Candid Spot 15 OP responding to Cucky94. I doubt anyone would have adopted me. I wasn't a great kid. In truth, had more issues than a hospital piss pot. I wasn't a great kid in any sense. But I changed. Genuinely, I changed. I can't help but wonder if this is because of how I was as a young child. Now for the mini update. Okay, thank you guys for all your advice. Honestly, I was in a state of shock yesterday. Maybe still am today. I wasn't thinking straight. I only slept 2 hours last night, that's all, so I'm probably a little delirious today as well. Firstly, I have contacted my personal advisor. He'll having an emergency meeting with me at 12:30, so I'll have more details about what's going to happen to me then. He'll hopefully be able to sort out emergency accommodation for me. Secondly, to those of you saying the Peters can't legally just give me 4 days notice to leave, I will definitely be mentioning this to my PA and get his advice on it. I don't want to stay here any longer than I need to, because since they told me it's like I don't exist, they just look right through me. But I'm not going to move out until I have safe accommodation for me. I will outright refuse. I am not going to be made homeless. Thirdly, those of you saying contact my uni, I have an offer from them, but it's only conditional if I get my predicted A-levels. Hopefully I will, but since I'm not technically a student yet, I don't know if they will actually provide any support yet. Finally, I am also going to ensure that the staying put allowance stops. I will tell my PA today that it should surely be stopped if I'm not living with them. Luckily, I have some money saved. Some people here have said I should be entitled to a bursary when I start uni, and I'll have my maintenance student loan to help me. I've already started looking for a job. Now for the next update. Okay, hi everyone. I just got home and am feeling incredibly tired, so this is just going to be a short update. Basically, I had a big long meeting with my PA And he was very sympathetic and felt upset that the Peters are treating me this way. We had one meeting, and then I went to get food while he spoke to the Peters directly, and then I came back to meet him again to let me know everything that has happened. He's putting me on the list for social housing. I am hopeful that it will not be long until I am able to get my own house. I recorded the meeting because I'm so sleep deprived, and also I have really bad memory processing for long things like that because of my dyslexia, autism, or something, I'm not sure. I can listen to it again tomorrow after I've slept, but from what I gather, they will help me with paying for rent costs. I will also get some money to help pay for furniture and things like that. When he spoke to the Peters, I don't know if he said they had to keep me housed for a while or asked them to. I'm not sure. But they've agreed to keep housing me until the end of August, so at least I don't have to worry about everything happening in 3 days' times. He did tell me that if I feel uncomfortable, I can be moved into a youth hostel place while they wait for a property to be available for me. But I said if I can, I would rather stay with the Peters until I am ready to move, even if it makes me feel a little uncomfortable. He told me they will continue getting paid the staying put allowance until the day I officially move out, and then it will be stopped. On a completely separate note, my best friend and I had a huge argument earlier. He said that I'm being ungrateful, and honestly, what he said really hurt me. We had a huge argument. I just thought out of everyone he would get me and understand what I was going through. Maybe not. Maybe I'm being unreasonable. I am really tired, so maybe my emotions are just not being controlled well at the moment. I am going to talk to him tomorrow after I've slept, and I'm hoping this argument will just blow over because I need him at the moment. I don't feel like I have anyone else. Oh, and I haven't read all comments because I didn't expect to get so many. Thank you everyone who have offered support. It is genuinely so sweet, and I am so thankful. Now for a few relevant comments. Jen820, glad things are working out. Don't worry about your friend. Right now you are in survival mode, trying to make sure you aren't on the streets. Hope everything keeps working out for you. Candid Spot 5v15, OP, responding to Jen820. He said I should be grateful that they kept me that long anyway. Like the frick? I'm not a pet. He also said some other things like how it's good that they're going to help another child like I was, which is true, and I get that it's a good thing what they're doing to help people. But him saying those things make me feel like I'm being crazy for wanting to stay like I was promised by them. I'm too tired and maybe I'm being irrational. I'm going to talk again with him tomorrow and say, I'm sorry. It never bothered me that they were paid to keep me before. Genuinely never bothered me at all. I always knew I was a foster child. I was about 15 when I learned that they were paid money to look after me. And I told myself it was a good thing, and it probably was. I got loving parents for 11 years, which is more than some people can say. I just didn't ever think they'd make me move out when the payments stopped being as high. I found out that when I was still a child, they were paid £111.82 per day for me. That's £40,840 per year. I had never felt different to the family. I had always felt loved and secure. I don't understand why they have changed their minds about me. None of them will even look at me in the eyes anymore, and it's gotten to the point where I can't leave my room anymore because all I feel is the absence of the love that used to be there. I didn't come down for any meal times, which was a rule that you had to before. If I didn't go down before, I wouldn't have gotten any food. But Mom brought it up to my room and knocked on the door to say she was going to leave it there for me. I've used that 100 times over and over again in my head to try and convince myself that they still love me. I called her by her first name when I came home yesterday. Not Mum, Claire. She looked upset when I did that, and a part of me is happy about that, and a part of me feels cruel for it. I knew it would hurt her, and I did it anyway. In some ways, I wish she wakes up to the pain she's causing me. I hope she takes it back and says that it is a lapse in judgment and that she loves me and wants me to stay. But if that were going to come, I think it would have already. I guess I'm not worth the £76 per day they lose by not replacing me with another foster child. When I feel bad about hurting them, I remind myself they're kicking me out to get an extra 76 pounds a day. That's what I'm worth to them. 76 pounds per day. Now for a few comments. OP said, I don't expect anyone to read this or care, but I want to say thank you for the immense love you've all shown me. I feel nothing but gratitude to you all. Basically, I, male 18, got removed from my bio family when I was 7. I got taken into foster care and was matched with a family called the Peters. I was then raised by the Peters for the remainder of my life, from 7 all the way until now. They had originally told me that I was able to live with them indefinitely, as I considered the Peters my family. And they applied for a staying put order with me, which basically means they continued to get paid something like £250 by the government to recognize that they're continuing to support a former foster child, me, after my 18th birthday. As I said before, I was always told by the Peters I could stay as long as I needed to set myself up in life. Their bio son, who I considered my brother, is 25 and still lives with them. He doesn't work, but did graduate university 2 years ago. I have a conditional offer at a local university which I'm studying classics with aims to become a teacher. I start in October if I get my predicted A levels, which I think I will. But the Peters told me that I had to leave by the end of the week because they wanted to get another foster child. This is something they really sprung on me, and it's been extremely difficult for me. I had to get in contact with my social worker who spoke with the Peters, and now they're letting me stay until the end of August, but the whole family has changed. I explained all this to my best friend, and I said I was considering going no contact with them after I moved out. He ranted to me about ungrateful I'm being to them and how they raised me for 11 years, and now they want to give that to another child in a position like I was. I get that. And that's part of the reason why I feel so guilty. My friend isn't speaking to me now, calling me selfish for wanting to stay with the Peters like I was promised, and for them trying to get rid of me with 4 days' notice. There were plans they could have taken to transition me into independent living before I turned 18, and they chose not to take part in them because they told me I could always stay with them. The one time of my life I needed my friend, and he's gone too, and I feel so alone, and I can't understand why he's taking their side over mine. I understand the argument that they will continue to help another child, but at the same time, I just wish they didn't have to throw me out to do so. When I suggested to my friend, they could have asked their bio son to move out instead of me, and he just said I'm being selfish. I still don't even know if I am going to go no contact with them. I just said I felt like doing it, and I wish I didn't even say that because I didn't expect it to cause such an argument. So, am I the idiot? Now for a few comments. One commenter said, "You poor kid, your friend is an AH, and you're certainly not. Even if there is another kid waiting and desperately in need, they could have and should have at least let you plan ahead more than a few days in advance, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Are you foster parents at least helping you find a place?" Edit to add that you should let someone at the university know. I like how it's done where you are, but some universities have programs for stuff like this. Another commenter added, "Dude, my cousin used to foster kids. She fostered 3 sisters and 1 other girl. I use the words used to because she adopted them as she wasn't in it for the money." OP responded, "I don't really even care that they were looking after me and getting money for it. It doesn't bother me. I never knew how much they were getting to look after me, but I did know they were being paid. It does make me hurt and betrayed that they're kicking me out for a difference of 70-something pounds a day." The Peters' son, Jamie, has found my original Reddit post. I guess I should have been more careful with the details, but my mind was so frantic at the point of writing it, I just couldn't think straight. I'm not sure how he found it, but considering it has almost 10K upvotes, and Jamie was the person who introduced me to Reddit, I guess it might have just popped up on his page. Does anyone know if it might have popped up to him because we're on the same network, in the same location? A few hours ago, Jamie came to my room. He showed me the original post and asked if I had written it. At first, I tried to deny it, but I'm an awful liar, so he just knew. He asked why I didn't tell him about this, and I said I thought he knew. He told me he had no idea and would not have supported his parents throwing me out if he did. He was told I requested to move out. He genuinely seemed shocked and appalled at the details in the post. Against my wishes, he shared the posts in the family group chat. He did this out of a place of wanting to defend me. Mom, Dad, I really think you should read this and see the impact this is having on. But I really wish he didn't do it. They've both read the message, but neither have responded. I have not left my room since. I'm really anxious right now, like I'm at the level before a panic attack. I can feel one coming on. Now, for a few important comments. Then a commenter said, "Stay calm and know that you did nothing wrong. They may try to gaslight you. They may lie to your brother. They don't have a good track record for being decent people. But no matter what they do, remember, you did nothing wrong. They cannot throw you out because of it. They have learned their lesson on that. I'm glad to know your brother didn't agree with their horrible decision, and I'm glad that he found out. Him not looking you in the eye these past couple of days may have had something to do with the tension already in the air, and him thinking you just up and wanted to leave. I hope it turns out that they realize their mistakes and apologize profusely. But brace yourself for that not happening, and that they may get upset with you for airing dirty laundry. They may end up trying to guilt you and blame everything on you. They may do nothing. Please remember, no matter what they say and no matter what your ex-best friend said, you did nothing wrong. Your feelings are valid. You deserve love. You did not deserve what they did to you. Now for what I'm going to send in the family group chat to Matt and Claire. I came to you as a 7-year-old who had never felt love or affection or anything remotely nice. I was taught at a young age to fear those in authority, to fear the sudden changes in the moods of my birth parents. I was taught to bottle up my emotions and my pain and never show it. When I first came to you, my life was ruled by fear and anxiety. I know my behaviors back then were awful, were a struggle to manage. I had been taught there were no consequences for some actions, and firm, scary, and hard consequences for others. The worst part was that those actions never seemed to be consistent. I could do something one day and be praised by my birth family, and another day I would be beaten. Love was not something given, it was something earned. It was conditional and shallow. You both showed me another way. You showed me love and affection, and at first it felt confusing and hard to comprehend. I couldn't see myself as anything more than a nuisance. I couldn't see why someone would love me. I couldn't understand why you weren't beating me. Do you remember me telling you, you can hit me if I be naughty, I won't mind? Slowly, you taught me to trust and love myself and those around me. You showed me that no matter what I did, you wouldn't give up on me. You wouldn't send me away or hate me, and I really tried to make you. I know that. I was scared. You made me realize that it wasn't my own fault I was in care, and that I wasn't to blame for the things that happened to my birth family. You showed me appropriate outlets to my fears. You showed me love, compassion, and kindness. The first day I remember feeling truly safe was when I was sitting in your arms at 8 years old watching Shrek. I still think back to that moment. It probably just felt like another day to you, but to me, it is a core memory in my life. It's a moment that shapes the way I see myself. You sat up with me when I was worried about moving up to secondary school. You comforted me when my birth mom told me she no longer wanted to be part of my life. You were there when XX broke up with me when I was 15 years old, and I felt like my whole world was ending again. You encouraged me to go beyond with my studies and apply to university. The most important thing you showed me was that I was worthy of being loved and respected. You never gave up on me. I am who I am today because of what you did. I look at myself and I see compassion and care and kindness, and in those traits, I see you. You weren't my birth family, but you were my family, my only family. I don't know what changed. Why has there been a switch? Why have you gone from the loving and caring parents you were? When I leave my room now, I no longer feel that love and kindness that brought me out of the pits of despair as a child. It's almost as if you have completely altered the way you see me, and I just can't understand why. A few days ago, you told me I had to move out. You gave me 4 days' notice to leave my family. You sent me back into feeling like that child at 7 years old. I'm not saying this to guilt you or to ask you to let me stay. That has passed now, and unfortunately, I don't think I'll ever be able to see you the same way again. I understand if you were hard on money or if you wanted to help another child like me, but why not talk to me? Why spring it on me and then act like I don't matter? Why tell me it's just business? Did you think that would make it hurt less? Since you told me my whole life has been turned upside down, and I don't know how I will make it to the other side. If I had felt like this a few weeks ago, do you know who I would have gone to? I would have gone to you. I would have told you my worries and my fears, and you would have said the exact right thing, and then we'd sit together and watch some awful TV show. And now, I have no one again. I feel like I'm being told for the second time in my life that I don't deserve a family. And this time, I have no one to pick me up off the edge. That was always you, Mom and Dad. It was always you I could rely on. Why are you giving up on me now? Now for a few important comments. Then a commenter said, send it to them. Let them know how you feel, how they hurt you, and that they cannot expect you to ever contact them again after you leave. They need to know how you feel. Send it to them, and if you want to, leave the GC, because they may try to justify their actions, and you don't need to hear it. Then OP replied, the sad thing is I don't think I even want that. I want them to love me again. Now for the next update. My PA is allowing me to store my things I can't take with me in his garage. It's kind of him. He's found me a place at a local hostel. I'll get my own room apparently, which was a big deciding factor on if I wanted to move in or not. The hostel works with the LA and houses a lot of care leavers, the English term for someone who has aged out of foster care while they wait for their own houses. I haven't sent the message yet, but I know my foster brother Jamie has seen it. Yesterday I felt overwhelming emotions. Today I feel none. I don't know which is better. I'll send it once I'm moved out. I have a room, so I'll be gone in a few hours. I still haven't spoken to them, but I just can't face it anymore. I am sick of being anxious and stressed about this. I guess they did get their 4-day notice after all. I have just left the Peters house for the last time. The room is ready for me at the hostel. I feel so weird and sad and lonely right now. I've ordered myself a pizza to have for dinner today, and my PA even paid for it. I just want to get in bed and cry. My head is spinning thinking about everything I need to do. Wish me luck, everyone. I want to clarify something. I was hurt and in shock when I wrote my first post, but I want to make it understood that I was never eligible to be adopted. At first, the end goal for me was to reintegrate me into my birth family. By the time we knew that was never going to happen, I wouldn't have accepted adoption as I wanted to keep my legal ties with my birth family. The Peters always told me it didn't matter that I didn't want to be adopted, and they loved me the same anyway. Maybe it wouldn't have changed anything, or maybe it would have. They were paid fortnightly for caring for me, and they would get £1,165 and 48. That's $40,702.48 per year they got just to raise me, which is about $52,295.77. I keep thinking about that number. Was that all I was? I wonder what I would change if I could go back in time. I am settled in the hostel now. It's not exactly luxury, to say the least, but at least I'm here now. I sent the text message, very slightly altered from the one I wrote yesterday, and then I left the group chat. I also posted it on Facebook. That was probably the wrong thing to do. I don't know. This is going to be my final update on all of this. I want to put everything behind me. Claire rang me crying, saying she had no idea I felt like this. How? How could she not know? She said she was sorry and begged me to come back. God, how do I ruin everything? She was telling me all these things about how she regrets the past few days so much and wishes she could take it all back. I said, this is not fair. She cannot throw me out and then call me crying. I said it's manipulative. She just kept saying sorry. She said she loves me and wants me to come home. Jesus, this is just a lie, right? She must have known. Am I the bad person here? I feel so confused. I don't know what to do. I just hung up, and then she started texting me, and I blocked her. But now I feel like I'm the bad person here. I'm so tired of this. of all of this. I want nothing to do with any of them. I don't think Reddit is good for me. I'm not sure any of this is good for me. I'm going to delete the app. Sorry, everyone. Now for a few important comments. One commenter wrote, "I've been following along with your updates as you post them, and I want to tell you that I'm so sorry you're going through this, that you deserve better, and that you are so strong in a situation where you shouldn't have to be. I'm glad your PA is helping you, and I wish you nothing but success and happiness." Then the original poster responded, "Thank you. I considered contacting my bio mom. Last time I spoke to her was when I was a young teen, but I think it might just be seeking out something to make myself feel more hurt. And I don't think I could deal with any more rejection. To bigger and better things." The Peters have a new foster boy living with them already. When I brought up my concerns about them potentially doing the same thing they did to me to another child, I was told they were going to be given extra guidance and support when children reach 17, 18, and ensuring everyone is on the same page about staying put orders. That's it. Nothing else. Extra guidance. That's all. Extra guidance. Is that even a slap on the wrist? My PA told me that they were, unfortunately, within their rights to ask me to leave after I turned 18. I said about how they told me it was a business decision, and they told me that unfortunately financial does come into decisions like this. Is that all I am? A financial decision? Does this system seem fair to anyone? I feel like I'm losing my mind. There should be more of a punishment for them. I'm not saying they should be banned from fostering again. I don't know. I still feel all in a tizzy, my mind just going crazy. I keep saying I'm not going to add anything else to this account, but I genuinely have no one else to talk to about this. Jamie, as nice as he is, doesn't understand me. And my friend just doesn't get it at all. Now for a little update. It's been a little while since my last post. I'm not sure why I'm even posting now. I'm just feeling really depressed today, and I should be feeling happy. I want to get this out the way first. You may have noticed I deleted everything on here. That was intentional. I want to move on. I haven't had any contact with any of the Peters family since Jamie and I had our argument. I don't want anyone to interact with Jamie if he posts more. He is just attention-seeking. If people have a copy of what Jamie wrote, I would appreciate it if you deleted them/didn't share them anywhere. The stuff he shared about me, it was just to hurt me. It was some of the most shameful things I ever did. So I can understand if you don't want to support me after you read what it the. If you do feel that way, just know I'm really sorry for what I did as a child. It isn't who I am now, and it wasn't who I was then. I'm sorry if I hurt or mislead anyone. That wasn't my intention. The Peters have a new foster child already living with them. I mentioned this before, but when I said I wanted it on their record that they tried to kick me out with no notice, I was told they would be given extra guidance. If they have a child living with them, start the process to aging out. I'm in two minds because honestly, I feel like that is just a slap on the wrist and thing else. But at least someone will be watching over them in the future when one of their other foster children gets to 18. I have some good news today. My PA got in contact with my first choice university, which is also the uni he went to. And he somehow got them to convert their conditional offer into an unconditional offer, which means no matter what grades I get from my A-levels, I get to study there. I don't even know how he managed to do it. I am so grateful for it. He's also got them to explain all the support I get as a care leaver, which is great. They're giving me free accommodation for the first year, which has released a huge stress for me because I had no clue how I was going to get to uni each morning. And they're going to lower the passing grade boundaries for me in my first year, though I hope I won't need this. I want to be getting good grades, and they're giving me a starter pack of important things I will need for my first year. Even though all those good things are happening for me, I just don't feel happy. I'm trying not to show it, but I actually really worried about starting uni, and I used to have the Peters to help me. And Claire especially used to give me a lot of emotional support. I really feel like I'm missing part of myself. I feel stupid saying this, and you guys are probably going to tell me it's stupid, but I just went the other day and watched the Peters house from afar. They didn't know I was there, but I could see into the living room window and they were just acting normal, and the new foster child was there also. I literally sat there for a few hours just watching. I really want to go and speak to them, but I know it's a bad idea. I shouldn't want them back, but I do. I feel really isolated, which is probably why I've come back here to post. Now for a few important comments. Then another commenter said, "I am not the OP. Please do not harass the OP. Please remember the no brigading rule and to be civil in the comments." Am I the idiot for placing my foster brother with special needs in a residential home after promising my dying mother I'd care for him? Firstly, please reserve judgment until the end. If you still think I'm a bad person after reading this, I won't stop you. I'm a 30-year-old man. My mom was a foster carer for the last 11 years before she passed away, and she made me promise that I would take over when she died. She had heart failure, but had lived from 7 years after diagnosis. She had 2 foster children, John and Paul. John came to live with us when I was 19 years old and he was 8, and had severe behavioral issues linked to his trauma. My world was turned upside down, but I very quickly grew to love him. Underneath the trauma and the difficulties, he was an amazing boy who I loved with my entire heart. He's now 19 himself and still lives with me. He just finished high school and I have no plans to move him out until he is ready. John and I have a great relationship. On the other hand, Paul is 16 years old. He came to live with us when he was 9. Paul has severe special needs, and no matter how much I've tried, I just cannot connect with him in the same way I did for John. Whereas John's behaviors needs never bothered me, with Paul, they do. I find him frustrating, and I have to remind myself that he is only on the same level as a 3-quarter-year-old mentally, and it's not fair that I get frustrated at him. When Mum was still alive, she took the main role of looking after Paul, and I supported her, which was okay, but I knew that when she was gone, I would struggle with him by myself. I didn't sign up to do this. I didn't sign up to look after him for the rest of my life. I just didn't. Mum died 6 months ago, and I said to myself, I would try. I kept Paul for all this time, but I just can't cope with him. I can't. I told my social worker that he needs to be moved by the end of the month because I just can't manage. I want to continue fostering, and I love being a foster carer, but I just cannot meet his needs, and it was different when Mum was still alive. I feel so guilty because I made my mum a promise that I would care for him until he was at least 18. But I'm building resentment to him, and it isn't fair on him. He deserves to have someone who loves and cares for him in the ways that I just can't. So yeah, call me selfish, call me scum, whatever. I deserve it. Now for a few comments. Well, it's dead now. Have you looked into state programs that could help with having a nurse or special needs caregiver to help with the burden? Uprooting Paul could hurt him even more, and he might be looking at you for support. Look into some programs to help and see what they say. If you need to move Paul, make sure you can discuss it with him. With him having a mind of a 3-quarter-year-old, that does some real damage to him if you aren't careful. My condolences and good luck. Then OP replied, I've tried everything, any and all resources and support there is. When he's at school, it's not too bad. He has a transport to and from school every day and has a career who comes and takes him out for 5 hours each week. Plus, I have 2 days each month where he is sent to a different foster carer so I can have some peace time. But even with the support, I can't manage it. I feel guilty for giving up, but I honestly tried my best. This doesn't mean I'm cutting him off completely. I'll still visit him sometimes. But I can't meet his needs, and I really tried. When asked about continuing with fostering Paul and if there are any programs or residential homes that work with people like Paul, OP said, No, don't worry. They already have a place for him in a residential home. I don't know if the system is different in different countries, but giving notice here on a placement isn't seen as the end of you fostering. And I didn't have to justify it beyond, I just can't cope, luckily, because I would have broken down if I had had to find justifications for it. It's funny, my mom used to say that the agency would always have had a way harder time playing John than Paul. John has very mild learning disabilities, but mainly linked to trauma, and had very bad behavior, even now, linked to his trauma, even though it's way better than when he was 8, lol. He's given me black eyes and bloody noses, smashed my laptops and TVs, and there was never a point throughout all of that where I ever thought I wouldn't give up on him. I would foster another child like him in a heartbeat and struggled to see why anyone wouldn't. To me, he was just a kid in a tough spot, and our love helped him. My mom explained to me that children like him are actually harder to place because people are less forgiving of behaviors without a cause they can physically see, like an obvious learning disability. I really tried to extend that to Paul. Genuinely, I did. I just couldn't. It just didn't click. I can't do the care he needs, sadly, and it's gutting for me because I really tried. And even though I don't feel that intense love for him that I do for John. I would never want Paul to be put in harm or not cared for. That isn't how the foster care system works. Me being unable to cope with Paul, who has extreme needs, means I should never be able to care for potential tens of children that I can support throughout my lifetime? Because I cannot support one child is severe. Send means that any potential foster children that I could support should what? Just continue living in residential/group homes? Have a think about how that logic works for you. Me admitting I can't cope with one child means that tens of future children could go without care and love in your world. Does that make sense to you? He is already on the highest package of support, which is immense, and I am entirely grateful to my agency, but even with it, I'm not in a position to support him how he needs it, unfortunately. He already has a place in a residential home, and I will still visit him. I don't want to just move him there and pretend he never was part of my life. I'm not that heartless, at least, lol. Now for an update. It has now been a few days since Paul moved out, so I thought I would give a little update. Firstly, I want to thank everyone who took the time to read my previous post and for those who offered support and understanding. It meant a lot, honestly. Paul has been placed with a new family who specialize in caring for children with severe special needs. I believe this is the best environment for him, and he seems to be settling in well. I am keeping in touch with his new carers, and they've assured me that he's receiving the care and attention he needs. At first, the house felt different, quieter, but also emptier. There's a lingering sense of guilt, but I'm also more at peace knowing he's in a place better suited to his needs. John and I have had more time to spend together, which has been nice. We've talked a lot about everything that's happened, and I'm grateful for his understanding and support. I've also started seeing a therapist to help work through the guilt I have been feeling and to help me grieve. Yesterday, my agency reached out saying they have 2 little boys needing housing for a short-term placement. They said initially 6 weeks, but it could be extended. They are coming tomorrow, and I am excited. They're 9 and 11 and are coming directly from their birth families. This will be my first proper placement, so I would be lying if I said I didn't feel a little anxious. Thank you again to everyone who reached out. Now for a few comments. It sounds like everything is working out well for both you and John as well. Paul and the kids, you're able to help now with these 2 and in the future. Good job taking care of yourself in this difficult time with therapy too. So glad to hear you made the right decision. Sounds like you are very awesome, and I hope your new placement will be a good fit. Good luck to you and all the boys. You did the right thing for you all. You tried, and it just didn't work out. And anyone telling you different have never even come close to taking care of someone with severe disabilities. Am I the idiot for cutting off my sister after she secretly dated my boyfriend for a year? So a few days ago, I, 25, female, found out that my sister, female 24, has been sleeping with my boyfriend, now ex, male 25. We dated for 3 years, for 1 year, or probably more. They always had a close relationship, but I obviously took it as something innocent. I don't like video games, but my sister does. So they talked a lot by text, and I thought it was about games they like, until I found out that no, they talked a lot about their secret dates while I was working. And in college, I found pictures, videos, and a lot of other disgusting things in the chats between my ex and my sister. My pathetic sister found pleasure in asking my pathetic ex all the time if she's smarter or prettier than me. She even compared our private parts with, "We're both pretty. She's actually thinner and prettier than me. And even if she's an introvert, she has her group of friends. So I really don't understand where she got so much venom towards me. Our parents never compared us or anything like that. And she was always the one asking my ex to compare both of us in the chats. The first thing I did was throw all my ex-boyfriend's things out of the apartment. I insulted him in 1,000 ways, and I kept the PC that I gave him for Christmas. I didn't speak a single word to my sister for over a week, and she didn't contact me like the coward she is until yesterday when she sent me a message trying to justify herself by saying that it was a mistake. Yes, a mistake that lasted more than a year, and that I should forgive her because we're sisters and blah, blah, blah. At one point, I thought, should I be the mature person in the situation who doesn't let resentment speak for her? But then I realized that I've never been that kind of person. I took my phone and wrote a long message to my sister that I would love to write here, but I am sure that I would break the rules since I called her out in every possible way. And I wrote a lot of personal things too. I told her how much of a failure she is and how she has always envied me. And that's why she needed to feel what it's like to be me for a second of her sad life. She sent me a voice message crying and saying that she's in a very weak moment mentally, but she's still with him. Lil Mayo. And I shouldn't make her feel worse and that she regrets it. I just reacted to her message with this emoji and didn't even hear the long voice message until the end. Was it a low thing to attack her with all her flaws? Yes, but it's lower to betray your sister and believe that she's going to forgive you just because you share blood with her. Honestly, I feel really good after sending her that message and feel that it was therapeutic to take out everything I feel to give closure to that. Bado, I've never used a PC for gaming, but I'm looking for tutorials on YouTube about how to download The Sims. I helped my sister in every moment of her life. I literally fought for her when she was being bullied during high school. I helped her thousands of times to make friends. I even accompanied her everywhere she wanted. It is a betrayal that really hurts, and I will never forgive. Never. It hurts me that she slept with someone I loved, but it hurts me a lot. All the things I read in those chats. How she enjoyed watching him compare me to her, or how she asked him about personal things about our relationship just to laugh at it. She's dead to me and my parents know it. I don't even care if I'm a bad person like them. This is something I can't forgive, and I don't even feel bad for my reaction. Now for a few important comments. When asked about her parents' reaction, OP said, "My mother was disgusted and my father was angry, but they only comforted me until I left their house. I don't know what they talked to my sister about afterwards, and I don't want to ask, but they will probably cut contact with her. She just said that it was a mistake." And in the voice message, she only talked about how weak she feels mentally and that she has been having anxiety attacks, even though I didn't hear the full audio because it lasts plus 4 minutes, and I was getting even more pissed off with her just wanting to be the victim. So I stopped the audio almost in the end. She never explained why she said all those ugly things about me, because everything was about her having anxiety attacks. Thank you for all the nice comments you left me. Many wrote to me with tips for The Sims, and I'm really grateful. Thanks for the game recommendations, even though I'm really bad at playing action games. The last action game I played was Resident Evil 4 on the PS2 long time ago, and it was because I had a crush on Leon Kennedy. He would never cheat on me. Better you. As a token of appreciation, and because I also like it when the op uploads the whole gossip, I will put here half of the message I sent to my sister. The message I sent her was really long, and I cut out the parts where I talk about very private things, or when I insulted her to not make the post too uncomfortable because I was really hurt and angry at that moment. And I talked about many personal things in the text. I will put the copy of the message in the end if someone talks Spanish. I'm sorry if it sounds weird in English. I did my best to translate it, and I had to remove a lot of parts. I'm not interested in hearing any of your excuses. I believed you when a problem she had with her ex-friend group happened because I really trusted that you would never do something like that. But now I understand why everyone leaves you alone, and you deserve it. What you did to me is a shoot, and you know it, but you didn't care because you spent a year being the intimacy worker of X name without any shame. And now that I found out everything, you went days without talking to me because you are a coward. And on top of that, you still don't care about what you did to me. You're only talking to me because Dad probably stopped talking to you and you're running out of money. So you want to fix this shoot so he gives you money again. You were always a jerk, but don't you think it's a lot to be my boyfriend's second woman? How little respect do you have for yourself? We're sisters. I don't even know what's going on in your head because I don't understand what's wrong with you. Girl, I read all the messages between you and you even started comparing our bodies. You're sick. You know that I never did anything for you to do this to me and I loved you, but everything turned out really well for you because he's with you. So enjoy that feeling and the love you two have for the other for now, because you're going to be really lonely later and you're going to go back to your cave. But this time, I am not going to be there to pity you like every time I did before. Stay with him. There's nothing that interests me less than fighting for an idiot who is surely going to leave you. But let me make it clear to you that you're not going to hear about me again. This dies here. We are not sisters anymore. If I see you on the street, then I'm going to cross to the opposite sidewalk to not see you. Here is the script. No me interesa escuchar ninguna de tus excusas. Yo te creí cuando pasó lo de a problem she had with her ex-friend group, porque de verdad confié en que vos nunca harías algo así. Pero ahora entiendo por qué todos te dejan sola y te lo mereces. Lo que me hiciste es una cagada, y vos lo sabes, pero no te importó, porque estuviste un año siendo la trola de ex-name sin ninguna vergüenza. Y ahora que me enteré de todo, estuviste días sin hablarme, porque sos recagona. Y encima te sigue sin importar lo que me hiciste. Solamente me estás hablando porque papá seguramente te cortó el rostro y te estás quedando sin plata. Así que querés arreglar tu cagada para que te vuelvan a depositar. Siempre fuiste una pelotuda fracasada, pero ¿no te parece un montón rebajarte a ese nivel de ser la segunda de mi novio? ¿Tan poco respeto te tenés a vos misma? Somos hermanas. No sé ni qué está pasando por tu cabeza, porque posta, no entiendo qué te pasa. Flaca, leí todos los mensajes entre ustedes y te ponías a comparar nuestros cuerpos. Estás re enferma. Vos sabes que yo nunca te hice nada para que vos me hagas esto y te requería. Igual te salió re bien, porque él está con vos. Así que disfruta por ahora ese amor que se tienen, porque después te vas a quedar sola de verdad y vas a volver a tu cueva. Pero esta vez no voy a estar yo para tenerte lástima como siempre hice antes. Quédate con él. No hay nada que me interese menos que pelear por un idiota que seguramente te va a dejar, pero que te quede claro que de mí no vas a volver a escuchar. Acá muere. No somos más hermanas. Y si te veo en la calle, me cruzo de vereda. Now for the update. They broke up. Nobody's surprised. When all of this happened, my parents scolded my sister and she got offended and didn't speak to our parents except to ask them for money. She asked them for money to buy things for her career, but then my aunt told my parents that my sister actually used that money to buy my ex some sneakers. My parents never gave her any money from that day on. She's an idiot, Dubai. My parents started to pay for us to go to a private college, and the only thing we have to do is literally study. The only thing she had to do was take her studies seriously, but she didn't. So my father got tired and hasn't sent her money for months. My ex discovered the post because he said it went viral in Facebook, and obviously he recognized the story. He contacted me to apologize and said he knows he did wrong by hurting me like that, but my sister manipulated him, and it was a total mistake. I told him he can shove his apologies in the butt. Meanwhile, my sister and I have only crossed paths a few times, but she always avoids me because she thinks I'm going to hit her. I won't. We're not going to the same career, so we luckily don't see each other too much. Anyway, a few days ago, she went to our parents' house saying that she broke up with my ex, IDKY. and that she felt really sad and had an anxiety attack. I don't know exactly what they talked about since I wasn't there, but my mother told me that she told my sister that she knew what was going to happen when she slept with him. And my sister justified herself by saying that they're in love. So my mother and her just argued again, and my sister left. Now she doesn't talk to anyone in the family except our grandmother to ask for money. I know my sister is not going to change her bad habits, and she didn't learn anything from this. I even think she will get together with my ex again because they're just toxic with each other. But it's her life to ruin, not mine. And I don't care anymore. The bright side, I sold the PC to a guy from Reddit that saw my post, and that really saved me from having to keep paying the dues. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play The Sims much, but I prefer the extra money. My ex had told me that he wanted the PC back, but I told him that then he should pay the remaining dues, and he said no. So the idiot wanted the PC for free, even though he slept with my sister. The weird side, there are YouTubers who are literally charging their subscribers to read the post or other Reddit posts, TF. At least give me a share of the profits. I know it's a boring update, and probably everyone wanted that. The update was my sister begging for forgiveness and my ex suffering, but no, they are just two idiots who deserve each other, and nothing more happened. But even today I received a message asking me for an update. Haha. Now for a few important comments. When asked if she forgives her sister and her boyfriend, OP said, "I'm going to go ahead and not forgive them. I can do both at the same time. And no, I don't forgive my sister, and I don't want her to forget this, and I don't want to see her again. In a few years, I'll remember these two idiots and laugh, but that doesn't mean they deserve my forgiveness." Now for the 3-month update. Hi, it's been a while since my last update, but some things have happened. First of all, almost 1 month ago, my sister talked to me from another number to tell me that her friend saw my post in a video on Facebook. Apparently, it's even translated into Spanish. Haha. For the first time, we spoke again. She made a big fuss saying that I didn't even change our ages or data, so her friend obviously acknowledged that I was talking about her since I didn't even hide my nationality. I told her that I wasn't interested about it, and she should be thankful that I didn't post it on my own Facebook. She told me I'm a pause, and I portrayed her as an intimacy lover. But honestly, I don't regret it. No one here knows her face, and I'm the one who looks like a cuckold in front of everyone. She started pressuring me to delete the posts, but I told her that it doesn't make sense anymore because it's everywhere, so I just blocked that number too. A few weeks after I made my last post, they came back, but now they're not back together anymore. Acquaintances in common that I have with both of them usually tell me that they cheat on each other all the time, or maybe they have an open relationship, IDK, but they always see them with other people in clubs. I'm not really interested in it since I avoid going to the same clubs as them. It's really annoying because my sister used to not go to clubs, but now she started to go to the same ones I always used to go. She had always criticized me for going to those environments. At this exact moment, they are not together, and my ex has been looking for excuses to see me like returning clothes that I forgot at his house, which I don't need. That's why I was not interested in going to look for them. So one day, he came to my apartment, unannounced, to bring me my clothes, and I had no choice but to let him in, and we slept together. Just kidding, haha. I just let him into my apartment to leave the clothes. I should talk to the manager to tell him that he is no longer allowed to have free access to my door. And it was very uncomfortable, because he reminded me all the time that he is no longer with my sister, and that I am a great woman. I told him that I know I am great, but I am not interested in hearing about his relationship with my sister. I love gossip, though, and I just invited him to leave my place. He even tried to kiss me on the cheek before leaving. Yikes. Meanwhile, my parents don't know what to do with my sister anymore, because she's even stopped going to college, although she's never really paid much attention to her studies, and they're tired of spending money if she doesn't make an effort. They have warned her that if she continues like this, they will stop paying for her university. But from what my mother said, my sister does not care, and she really believes that my parents will at some point give her money again to fulfill her whims. I really hope right now that she doesn't get pregnant, but I'm even afraid she'll do that so my parents can support her again. And about me, I feel much better, except for the fact that I don't go to my favorite club anymore. I'm very well emotionally, and I've already reached a point where I hear their shit show as if it were something foreign to me and I was just watching two crazy clowns.